from New Hampshire, where First was started, and we would use it both as a way to celebrate her life and what she did, and as a way to raise money, because that's what commemorative coins do for the organization that sponsors them. And we made a packaging that suggested that. In 1990, we were pretty small. We tried again in 1995, tried again in 2000, and each time we went to Washington, we were pretty much told, Dean, you're right, it's a really good way for an organization to raise money, to have their own commemorative coin, but it's not a well-kept secret that it's a good way. And there's always some group that's in line that wants legislation by which our government instructs our Department of the Treasury to make commemorative coins. And you guys just aren't going to make it to the top of that list compared to organizations that might have been around for 100 years before. So we kept putting it away. This year is the 30th year, the 30th anniversary of the Challenger disaster. I think we've waited long enough. So, very recently, literally in the last few days, I asked both of our senators, conveniently, one is a Democrat, Jeanne Shaheen, one is a Republican, Kelly Ayotte, both women, but in our little state there's a little gracious professionalism, and I asked them to co-sponsor the bill that would make the Christa McAuliffe commemorative coin, the proceeds of which would go to support First around the country. They were both happy to do it, and with a little help from some of my people inside DECA, we prepared the bill. In fact, let's take a look at it. It's a real bill. It's very simple. It's only a couple of pages long. They both said they'd be proud to do it, but they said there's still a lot of competition. You're used to that. You need 67 senators at least. And I said, you know, we now, unlike the last time we tried this, we now have teams in every state. I can't imagine there's a senator that wouldn't want to co-sponsor this bill. They said, Dean, you're probably going to need 290 of the 435 congressmen if you want this. And I said, you know what? First now has teams in more than 290 congressional districts around the country. So that shouldn't stop us. So, if you're wondering what your homework is, it turns out we're going to make it very easy for you to get to that bill. Let's look at the next slide. You see, you go to the First website, and we're going to make this one really loud. But you go to the First website, you click on a few things, we even make it easy for you. This is not, as you know, First isn't just robots. First is way more than robots. First is going to have a little civics class here. You go there, you can click, and it'll tell you who your representatives are. Well, if every team here goes back and asks their congressman or congresswoman for a meeting. And you don't have to go to Washington. They come home, they're in their district, you ask them for a meeting. And by the way, remind them you didn't ask for a meeting with their staff. You didn't ask them for a nice, polite letter. You ask them for a meeting, and you show up with the bill. And you ask them to co-sponsor the bill. If for some reason they have a problem with science, technology, teachers, astronauts, heroes, tell them to call me. So, it gets better. I thought of this today. I asked some of our people, do we have any congressmen here? And somebody said, hey Dean, there's not only a congressman here, but Congressman Randy Hultgren is not only here, he's the congressman from the 14th Congressional District of Illinois, watching what we're doing. Illinois. But they said, Dean, he also happens to be the chairman of the STEM caucus of the United States Congress. The chairman of the caucus on STEM, and here as a fan of FIRST. Sounds like a pretty good start. So I said, well, there must be people here from his congressional district. And in fact, there isn't a team, there are two. So I said, well, maybe some of the kids, you know, you do homework normally after you see it done once, and you gotta go practice. So it turns out there are two teams from his district, the people that would go ask him, representing them, to co-sponsor a bill. So it turns out that team 2338, the Gearing Forward, and the team 2451, Poenig, have two women that happen to be in the neighborhood. So I figured, just to make it clear how all of this stuff works, because we're more technical than civic, I figured I would suggest that maybe Annie Hubbard from 2338 and Allie Bogren from 2451 come on up here. So we're all come on up here. Why, thank you. Then I figured, not that I want to put anybody on the spot, that would be rude. I figured, on your behalf, I would ask your congressman, he works for you. I would ask him to come up here, and then you can ask him whether he'd want to co-sponsor a bill and sign it. So why don't you do that?
I just say midlife, sorry, everybody calls all proposed.
Sign on it.
It really is almost that easy. You need to go meet with your members of Congress, first and foremost, because we want to hear about FIRST. I heard last night that it's only 8% of schools that have FIRST in that school. 92% of schools don't have the opportunity that you have. That's not right. We've got to change that. This is an important step to get that done. They need to hear from you of why we need to expand first to every community and every high school. So please come out and meet with us. And then, the other thing that we could really use some help with is this gracious professionalism thing that U.S. Congress really needs to do.
You see how easy government should be.
Oh my God, you literally told me that inside a bill.
Seriously. The homework. Please. You go to our website, you look at the bill. It's not some legalese. To require, I'm just reading the first page. Ms. Ayat and Ms. Shaheen introduced this bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee. And it reads, to require the Secretary of the Treasury to mint coins in recognition of Christa McAuliffe. By the way, I did speak to Steve McAuliffe, Christa's husband, who's normally been very low profile. He's a federal judge. And he said, Dean, I would be not only willing, I would be enthusiastic if the memory of my wife, Christa McAuliffe, on a commemorative coin that supported FIRST could be achieved. But it goes and simply says, be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled. This act may be cited as the, quote, Christa McAuliffe Commemorative Coin Act. And then it describes how they do it by describing Christa McAuliffe as the teacher, the first participant in the National Aeronautics and Space Administration program on teachers in space. You should all read it anyway, but after you do, please make an appointment to see your representatives, see your senators. Tell them we not only want this bill, we want it now. We want it now. As you get them to co-sponsor, you go back to that site, and we will list each one. And maybe we can make a fun competition among all of you about the first co-sponsors of the first bill. But if we do the homework well, it ought to be a fun exercise in understanding how government works, how cooperation works, how we get things done. And then hopefully these coins will be used by all of you to go out, promote FIRST, raise funds, recognize a teacher, a woman, a hero, and help us put FIRST in every school in the country. So being that you're going to do all of that well, I'll just leave it that now it's time to celebrate. So congratulations on 2016. We'll see you next year.
We have a long way to go. Yeah, and I need to talk to them.